intuitive, so they really understand the whole. And when you understand the whole, you don't have any judgment. When you really understand the whole of everything, you really, truly see. As you said, it's a divine plan. It's all a divine plan. This whole planet Earth, the economy is a divine plan. The plight in Somalia is a divine plan. Everything has a plan. Otherwise, you have to say some things are with God and some things aren't. And then it will take you into duality, which is really what Christianity is based on in the form we know it today, not in the Essene Gospel as Jesus taught it, but that there's a devil, there's God, there's a devil, right, wrong, good, bad, and you divide yourself and live in that duality. And what causes then to happen is judgment. And the first person we're going to judge is ourselves. And if we're a person who does a lot of judgment, a lot of discrimination, a lot of this person is that person, pigeonholing, it's because we do a lot of that on ourselves. And the beauty of someone that comes into that enlightened state, they see the soul of everybody. So they only see goodness in everyone. Now, does that make them stupid, like in business, or stupid in their decisions? No. They use that word discernment. Very, very different than discrimination. Discrimination is attached to judgment. But discernment is to look at someone's character and decide if perhaps it's good to work with them, or if you do, to understand the possibility of how they may act, because you know their character, but you're not putting judgment on their character. Very big difference. Do you understand that? It's such a big difference. So let's just say you're a businessman and you want to get investors in your business. You see them. You're very discerning if they're honest, if they are saying what they know, which is based on truth, what their character is. And then you make a decision off that. Not that you like them or you don't like them. You don't pass any judgment, but you're discerning. And we need that discernment now. But discernment has to be backed by intuition. You can't be discerning if you haven't developed this frontal lobe. Because what happens, you end up being judgmental and then victim. But behind discernment, you must have an intuitive self. Then when you have an intuitive self, you can love everyone. Do you trust everyone? No. Because they don't have a character developed to trust. But does it mean you don't love their soul? No. So there's many layers of being present. There's many layers of mindfulness. It's not just saying, I'm going to love everyone, I'm going to be mindful of everyone, I'm just going to... Because you've got that opposite that you'll go to if you haven't developed this. It's almost like a layered in the mind. Does this make sense? Many of you know this. But it takes a very knowingness of this. So what goes on in this? Every thought you've ever had is still contained in every year. Every thought your parents ever gave you is still here. So how do you go through it and know what's truth and what's not? And that's developing that meditative mind, that quiet mind. We are guests on planet Earth. And we act like we own the place. Isn't that something? It'd be like if you went to someone's house for a holiday and you just walked in like you owned it, like, okay, I'll take over the kitchen and I'll take the master bedroom, you'll sleep in the guest room, and you just take over. And that's what we've done. We've just taken over this whole earth. And another amazing consideration is that do you know we have all the power, I'm going to ask you where it is, you're going to guess, to run this whole earth, all the electrical, all the power that we need to run every single thing. Do you know where it's from? It's from the moon. We just have to learn how to capture it. Isn't that amazing? Creator's given us everything. He never made a plan for us to come in and just destroy and mess this whole place up. Because we're the guests. So I think we have a lot to learn from those who are hosting us, like the trees and the flowers, and all the food, and every single thing. So I think if we can quiet down a little, and many of us are coming still, we have our purpose, but we'd like to develop and cultivate it, or find it a little deeper. That in the quietness of nature, because they live in the order, they truly live in the order of the universe, because they're that. We're a little out of step. Somebody brought up, just in New York City, a beautiful friend of mine from India, beautiful soul, 27-year-old astrologer, such a divine soul he is, how when he teaches, he, from India, raised on the banks of the Ganga in Rishikesh, he says people are just so busy here. It just kind of blows him out of the water, even though he comes every year here. They're just so busy. They can't just have a conversation with you. Looking in your eyes, not going on and on, talking really fast, and then having to run, and because they've got a message, or they're looking at you and then they're looking down at the text message and trying to do both, or buzz here, this, that. And another insightful from a beautiful friend from Sweden, we went there and taught an hour above Stockholm in a beautiful small town. And he came over that following week for a computer convention in downtown LA, developing programs for college, because I think you could almost go to school and you never have to walk through a school door, you could do it all on the computer. And so he's there, and it's international, but mostly Americans. And his job is a salesperson that sells or develops the programs. So he was so sweet in his Swedish accent. He says, he says, Americans are talking to you like in that business, they're talking business about, what he comes for. But then you're talking to them, and then they see somebody else over there and say, catch you in a minute. And then they go over there. He wasn't used to this. It's like we have ways about us here that are very incongruent with nature, you might say. And I think if we as yogis and as seekers of really wanting to stay present and wanting to be present in what our purpose is, could set a new landmark of how to live. I do believe with all my heart that it's the yogis, the meditators, that will, in the long run, change this world.